Hello YouTube, I'm Tired Aaron from the Lone Star Drift channel, and I wanted to ask you guys a question. We're having Nakamura over for Drift Week 7. He's gonna be driving with us for almost 2 weeks, all over the West Coast area and everything. And we're putting him in cars. So what would you guys put him in as like a car that he's gonna do Drift Week? Because he's gonna be out there, we're gonna provide him with cars, tires, all this stuff. So we're gonna have him as like a driver that we're all driving with the entire time. And my goal is to keep him on track in a car the entire time so that our drivers can drive with him. So he's not there just on vacation, like hanging out, doing nothing. We want him on track so we can tandem with him so we can take full advantage of Nakamura being at the track with us, because that's the whole point. So a lot of people will be like, oh, put him in an SR S13, that's all he needs. But having a right-hand drive SR S13 in America, one, is kind of rare, but two, I think we've only had an SR ever make the entire trip like once or twice. They always blow up. Even Rednicks on the last Drift Week blew up. SRs are just not, I mean, they're too old. We're asking a lot of them, all these things. They're just not gonna make the trip easily. And I don't want the car needing to be worked on at all. So I need the car to be as reliable as possible. I need Nakamura to be able to show off, so it needs to be right-hand drive if possible. Probably a 350Z would be the most reliable thing we could put him in. They do Drift Weeks back to back to back, the same chassis like David Mesker's or my white rental car, different ones. They'll do multiple Drift Weeks with almost no maintenance. They're super reliable, but they're kind of boring. So it brings me back to, what would you guys have Nakamura drive? Now this is in February, it starts February 18th over in Tucson, Arizona, so I don't have a lot of time. So one, I can't import a car or do something because I don't have time to do it. I do have a right-hand drive S14 Silvia over at Ebisu that I could potentially bring over, but I don't have time. And it's SR, so that kind of kills it. I do have my old right-hand drive comp car, which Mark now owns, which we could use. I have a bunch of 350Zs and the G37 and stuff that we could use. So, and I could go out and buy a car. I could use my left-hand drive V8 car, which is super reliable and done a bunch of Drift Weeks. I could go get something different that's like, you know, I do have a JZX90 that I could use, but I don't want to get that car destroyed. So anyways, backpedaling all this stuff, I'm just gonna show you the car we're building. It's my old S13 comp car. Hopefully you've already commented and stuff and told me what you wanna see. So we chose a right-hand drive car so he can show off. It's an S chassis, so it's gonna look like Nakamura. We're gonna paint it up and cosplay the car so it's in the correct colors and everything. And then we're putting my old V8. It's the El Camino Bubba Drift V8 that was then in this chassis. So this was in Formula D in 2004, and then put in this chassis later on in 2007 or 6, 2007 we put it in, and then was in the chassis and then also in my other car for a long time. So it's been in drifting 18 years. It was originally stock, had a blower on it, and then we made it a normal, just like 450 wheel LS that was like built. And then we made it a 13.5-to-1 compression engine. And then we just took those pistons out and just refreshed it. So it got refreshed a couple times in its life cycle. It's never toasted rods or like done anything crazy. Just every like 8 years, we just take the bearings out and replace them and have a machine shop go through it. And we've changed pistons a couple times, not because of damage or anything, but because we wanted to run different fuels. And I got sick. It was 13.5-to-1 compression that really like dials you into just race gas. And I don't want race gas anymore when possible, especially with my NA cars. I just want the car to work all the time, make at least 400 wheel, and that's it. I don't need any more. I don't need the complications in my life. So here we go. This is going to be trailered around though, because we don't want to mess with this. This is just gonna be the show-off car so he can show off. And then I have a 350Z outside we're gonna put him in that he can street drive and then also be in. So the concept is a Nakamura looking S13 that everyone, if they look at him on track and they see this car, they'll immediately know it's Nakamura. They can go tandem with him. They can spectate. He'll be doing ride-alongs for the crowd and stuff and other people. We just want it to be instantly recognizable as Nakamura, because on the last Drift Week we had James Dean in a 370Z and a 350Z, and he, like, if you didn't know he was in the cars, you wouldn't know he was there. You would just be looking around and asking people like, where's James Dean at the event? But this, you'll absolutely know it's James Dean. A bunch of people are gonna complain about the V8, but because Nakamura has been driving a V8 in D1 and a JZ and SRs and stuff, it really opened it up and I could make him drive anything. And this is going to be by far the most reliable setup that I can think of. It deletes all the boost, deletes all the coupler problems, deletes intercoolers for crashing, gives him plenty of horsepower. It's a brand new T56 Magnum, new clutch and flywheel and all that stuff. It just simplifies life. And then hopefully this chassis is going to weigh in somewhere right around 2,500 to 2,550. And that's going to allow great tire wear. We have 70 Valino 08Cs for him. We're going to put him on 265s on both cars so that he can rotate between the two cars to be on track as much as humanly possible so our drivers can drive with them as much as possible. Because again, why have Nakamura here if we're not going to drive with him all the time? And this is the state of the car. So this car needs to be tested this weekend. It needs to be finished and out the door by Friday night. Today's Tuesday, so all day Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and then kind of needs to be done in 3 days. It won't be painted and stuff, it won't have the body on it, but it should be in running condition, ready to go. It didn't even have a motor in it 2 days ago, or any of the suspension or anything else. So, so much to do. And it's gonna be a front mount radiator car. This is, again, an LS1 with ported heads, aftermarket rotating assembly, stock crank though. 11-ish to 1 compression, maybe like 11.5. Some of the sticking points of this swap, by the way, that made it difficult was it's right-hand drive. So all this stuff is really cluttered over here, and the starter and the steering rack and all these things get really close. I'll show you in another video in it probably, but it gets really close down there and packed. Anyways, some other highlights of this car. I had this since like 2004, 2005. It was an SR car. I did a round of Formula D in it as an SR car, and then I got sick of the SR, swapped into V8 in 2006 or 2007. I think 2007. And then it did a full season of D1 USA. It was like tandem with Daigo and everybody in it, which was really cool. Yokoi from MCR Factory drove this car. Tezuka from Kids Heart drove this car because I brought people over. Chelsea Nofa's driven this car. Lots of different people. It's been heavily wrecked over the years, and I mean like super totaled out at like the Red Bull Long Beach like super comp way back in the day. That's my plan, is to put the most reliable, dead simple hammer of a drivetrain in a car that looks like Nakamura's car so that he'll be on track, having fun with everybody as much as possible. So we delete all of the mechanical issues that we could have. I know Drift Week is about doing a long trip and street driving and like all of these different things. And we're going to show you the other car now. So he will be doing that stuff, but I need a car for him to really show off on track and show his special skills as a driver and not just being a Z. Yeah. So then walking over here, this is a 350Z that we're going to turn into his street drift car. Well, not street drift. God, no, I hope he doesn't get me in trouble in this thing. This will be the car that he drives on track and then also street drives from each track. The reason why we're doing 2 cars for him is so that if one breaks, he can be on track all the time. When they're getting tires and cooling off the drivetrain and getting fuel or needing anything, he'll have a car to swap between. And instead of him working on the cars, we're just gonna have Mark be mechanic on both of the cars to simplify my life, which should be really nice with the 350Z, because then this car should be really dead reliable. Really just the body kit will be torn up. Maybe I'll toss some KBD on the thing to get rid of the fiberglass, because the fiberglass currently is the big weak point of this car. Like this bumper gets ripped off really easily, which is a problem. And we will do a Nakamura fade on this and everything, hopefully, and paint it so it's also instantly recognizable as a Nakamura car. And then it's an HR car. Oh, that's nice. But, oh, so that S13 in there needs to be tested. We're going to the LZ Invitational, by the way. I won last year in the Corvette, and I won it in my S14. We need to be out there. We literally need to leave on Tuesday of next week, right after getting back from this weekend's event in Houston. So we'll be testing this in Houston to see if it's competitive. We want to put the body back on, but I think we're just going to have to take the body off. I don't think there's any way that Mark's going to finish mounting the body in time. which was the whole point of it. But we'll strip it back down, which sucks because we have to cut all the mounts off so it doesn't look super stupid that Mark had just made. And then have this as my comp car because it'll be very entertaining to see me in this thing competing. Cool. And then I would love to take that or something, but that needs way more development and stuff. So yeah, that'll be out at the Houston Police Academy this weekend. So if you want to come hang out, I'll put up the flyer right now. Come hang out, watch us. I need some people to tandem with to see how competitive I'll be in that thing because I really want to win the Adam LZ Invitational event. I think it's just called the Invitational. There's a VQ on a pallet that needs to be swapped in. Anyways, I hope you guys come check out the event. We'll be at Honda Musselman on the 18th and 19th, I think it is. I'll have to put up a flyer at some point for spectator days. Nakamura will be doing ride-alongs in the car. There'll be some way to pay for those. Nakamura will get the money directly. And then I'm sure he'll love to get American currency because the yen is so weak right now. And I can't believe how much work we have. That was just a rusty shell recently. Mark has been putting in so much time up here at the shop. I'm excited. And I've been putting in so much time getting drivers. We still need some drivers for the, whatchamacallit, Drift Week 7. I have 2 rental cars left to rent. The other rental cars are all rented out. I was holding those back for international drivers. So if you're from out of country and you want to come drive, you need a rental car, I was holding some spots back with those cars. Contact me. And we're always looking for good drivers in general. You can hit me up, get an application, and send one in. Anyways, thank you so much. Bye. Yes. Do you think this is really going to stand up to Nakamura beating on it?
Oh, I hope so.
You don't think he can break this?
I'm pretty bad on them too, so like.
Imagine dancing on your fiberglass side skirts. Thank you, Irving. We appreciate KBD stuff. This would be so hard with normal fiberglass with Nakamura.